think we are live. Let me check. 1, 2, y'all can hear me? Give you guys a sec to get into the chat room. How we doing tonight, everybody? Hope you guys having a great Sunday. I know I am. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it a little bit in just a sec. Once we got some people in the chat room, say what's up, y'all. Leave a like. Little Sunday, another Sunday stream. Yo, what's going on, everybody? All right. So now we got some people in the chat room. Let's actually get into this. All right. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka GLauren33. I am back here tonight with another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here with your SmackDown Live review and results for May 7, 2021. Well, it wasn't technically SmackDown Live. It was actually a throwback edition of SmackDown this week, and we're going to be talking about all that and more on tonight's podcast. Yeah, I know we're doing this live on Sundays, but like I always said, you guys don't really care, when I go live. It's like, I could go live 3 days after a show goes on the air. You guys will still be here, but it's been a very busy weekend for me personally, so that's why I didn't stream Saturday night and got this out of the way. I'll talk about that in just a second. But first, let me just give my quick thoughts on SmackDown really quickly, right? This wasn't a terrible show. It wasn't, right? The throwback edition, the whole theme of throwback edition really didn't mean much to me. I read reports that the main reason that they did throwback edition of SmackDown is because it was to go along with what they were doing with NASCAR. You guys know NASCAR and WWE, they share a partnership since, they're both on Fox Sports, right? Remember Sasha Banks, she was the one that waved the green flag at the Daytona 500 a couple months ago to start the NASCAR season. And for you guys who don't know, the Daytona 500 is like the biggest race in all of motorsports, so that was a big deal. And now, with this weekend or this past weekend, NASCAR, I believe they were in Darlington Raceway. Excuse me. They're in like Darlington Raceway, which is like kind of like a throwback track to them. So basically to kind of hype up the race, right, they decided to do Throwback Smackdown, And, I don't know how much the throwback theme had on the ratings, but the ratings did go up. I believe last week was a 1.9. This week we're at a 2.1, right? But I'm gonna be honest, the throwback thing didn't do much for me. It wasn't anything special. There wasn't even a lot announced on the card for the show going in. So it was like they were gonna rely heavy on the throwback theme. We saw, like Teddy Long. We saw, a couple of things here and there. But all in all, wasn't, it didn't really impact the show that much for me personally. It was more, I would say, just there. It was just there, But it wasn't a terrible show. All right. My main thing, and I'll lead to this going into the opening shoot. My main problem with, SmackDown was they're giving a lot of focus to the Universal Championship scene, and this is becoming more apparent every single week. We understand Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, the head of the table. He is the number one thing in WWE right now. He's the best heel, right? I think when people make the comparison of Roman Reigns to Kenny Omega, it's laughable because to me, it's not even close. I think personally, this is my opinion, I think Kenny Omega is highly overrated. Right, just because he's now holding 3 championships, right? I believe it's like the Impact Championship, the AEW Championship, and I don't know if it's the IWGP, or the New Japan title, but he's holding another world title as well. It's like I don't really care. I'm not interested in it. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm not saying Kenny Omega sucks or anything like that. Kenny Omega's a fantastic wrestler, right? But I feel like he is a tad bit overrated. When people say Kenny Omega is the best in the world, I'm just like, you realize WWE has AJ Styles, right? And Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole and guys like that. And right now, we're talking about the best all around, talking about everything, not just wrestling ability. I think we would all say that Roman Reigns is the top, superstar in the world. Right now, with what he's doing with this heel run, everything we've always wanted from a Roman heel run, he's operating on, a superior level. Everything that Roman Reigns is doing right now is fantastic. And I cannot wait to see how it continues, right? But the problem I'm noticing with SmackDown is now with Roman Reigns as the top guy, they feel the need to spend nearly half the show on what's going on with Roman Reigns. We like last week, for example, we had the Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan match, which took up almost an hour of the show. I didn't really have an issue with that because it's a Universal Championship match, right? It's for one of the two big world titles in the company. And it's taking place on free TV with commercial breaks. So I understand it's going to take up, 30, 40, sometimes even 50 minutes of the show. But it's becoming more of a theme every single week, it feels like. It feels like, every single week we're getting longer and longer and longer segments surrounding the Universal Championship. Remember the week before that, when we started the show with Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. And remember, Daniel Bryan was trying to bait Roman Reigns into coming to the ring and giving Cesaro a Universal Championship opportunity. And that took like the first 30, 35 minutes of the show. And then the end of the show was Roman Reigns telling Cesaro in another Beast promo saying, Cesaro, you'll never get a Universal Championship opportunity. I'm the head of the table. I'm the one who gives out the opportunities around here. I decide who gets the title shots. And that's what led to him, giving Daniel Bryan the title shot for what took place last week with, Daniel Bryan getting barred from SmackDown, which, I still don't know how I feel about that decision. It's all going to depend on if Daniel Bryan goes to either Raw or NXT or if, he just straight up retire. We don't know. I think it would be more likely that Bryan comes back more on a part-time schedule, but we'll have to wait and see. But, you're noticing more and more Roman Reigns and the Universal Championship is taking more and more time every single week. And I understand you, like I said, he's the top guy in the entire company. The Universal Championship is the most important title on SmackDown. It makes perfect sense for it to take up the most amount of time on the show. But now it's starting to get a little bit to the point where other parts of the show are struggling because the Universal Championship is taking up so much time. For example, Carmella and Ruby Riott, they only got 2 minutes on last night or on SmackDown this Friday. 2 minutes. I've been noticing that the women's matches, especially on SmackDown, have been shorter and shorter and shorter since WrestleMania. Bianca and Bayley only got 3 minutes of TV time last week with their backstage segment, and they had a pretty short segment this week on SmackDown. And it's if you look at the ratings, right? If you look at the amount of viewers per segment, you could see that Bianca's and Bayley's segments are not doing well. And I blame part of that on WWE because they're not getting enough time. But it's starting to really become a problem because you guys know how high I am on women's wrestling. 2 minutes for the women with Carmella and Ruby Riott, and they can easily probably give you at least 10 to 15 minutes. Ruby Riott's one of the most underrated female superstars in that company, and Carmella can hold her own with most people. She's pretty decent herself, right? Like, why can't they get a 10 to 15 minute match? I'm not a big fan of, what they're doing with Tamina and Reginald and Natalya with this nonsense with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, right? You need to get those titles off of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. But the fact that these past, weeks, we've seen Shayna Baszler losing in 2 minutes to both Tamina and Natalya. And, this match with Reginald and Tamina, even though the match should never happened, it only got like 3 minutes, I believe, last night on SmackDown. And I'm just like, this is what we're doing now? Now the women's superstars are barely able to get 10 minutes combined of TV time on a 2-hour show? That should not be the case. That should not be the case. And it doesn't matter if Sasha Banks is there or Becky Lynch or anybody like that. It should be at minimum, you should be spending at least around 30 minutes combined of the 2 hours of TV time on the woman. You know, a little bit of time for the women's championship, of course. You know, maybe a little bit of time for the women's tag titles, depending on what's going on with that storyline. And then your side women's feud, because you should be having side women's feud to continue the division, to build up contenders, and, you know, make people relevant. Because we don't know, WWE barely uses half the talent that they have there. It's becoming more and more of an issue every single week, and I can't stand for it. I really can't. I love Roman Reigns. I believe he is the tribal chief, the head of the table, whatever you want to call it. But there is no reason why they should be using, or what, you know, they should be spending over 45 minutes of the show's actual runtime, right, without commercials, on the Universal Championship. You don't need to. Remember, you have the Universal Championship, you have the United States, no, not the United States, the IC Championship, the SmackDown Tag Titles, the Women's Division, and your side feuds. You don't need the Universal Championship to be taking up that much time. It doesn't matter how great Roman is. That's just a fact. Because yes, Roman's a star, but it should be a collaborative effort. The goal should be to make SmackDown the best show possible. The goal is not to make SmackDown the Roman show, as great as he is. The goal should be to make SmackDown the best show possible for everybody on that roster. That's what made SmackDown great back in 2016 when we first had the brand split. Right? You had the WWE Championship scene with AJ Styles and John Cena and Dean Ambrose, right? You had the IC title with, you know, Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. You had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships with, like, the Usos and American Alpha. And you had a, you know, decent women's division with Becky Lynch and Naomi and Alexa Bliss, etc., etc., etc. You got to get back to that. You have to get back to that. Because you look at those shows back then, everybody got a fair amount of time. Of course, some segments are warranted to get more TV time than others. We all know that. But there's no reason why Roman Reigns should be getting 45 minutes of TV time on an edition of SmackDown. Nobody should be doing that. It's hurting the show at the end of the day. Plus, you're going to give us burnout of seeing Roman. And we don't want to do that. He's the best thing going on that show. But you don't want to overexpose the guy. So that's really my big thing coming into SmackDown tonight. Right? They gotta chill out. You guys gotta chill out with, you know, the amount of time you're spending, especially on the Universal Championship. So, you know, let me know what you guys think about that. But let me look in the chat real quick. I see Tiandre, I see JDE, I see Dennis. What's going on, everybody? Chat seems a little bit, I agree with you, Dennis. The chat's a little bit dry. Maybe it's because it's early in the stream. I don't know. Maybe because it's Sunday night. I know it's Mother's Day. I'm, you know, streaming on Mother's Day, so maybe people are spending time with their mother. You know, hopefully you guys, you know, for those of you guys who have your mothers with you, hopefully you guys just said how much you appreciate them, you love them, because mothers are a blessing. So maybe that's why. I don't know. You know, maybe most of the people will listen to the podcast a little bit later on, you know, on demand. That's why it's, you know, available afterwards. But anyway, still, man, let's actually get into this edition of SmackDown tonight, right? So, like I said, the show opened up with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and Paul Heyman, right? Remember, just last week in the main event, Roman had defended his Universal Championship successfully against Daniel Bryan, barring Daniel Bryan from SmackDown, and he cannot return. And, you know, I said this last week, you know, I don't know when, you know, or if Daniel Bryan's ever going to return to SmackDown. You know, I don't know, because is it really a lifetime ban? Like, you know, years from now, you know, when Roman and Daniel are all retired, and then if WWE's still going, the next generation of stars, you know, are running the company. Like, say they do like a throwback SmackDown like this, or they decide to bring back a bunch of legends. You tell me Bryan, who's had so many iconic moments of his career take place on the Blue Brand, like, you know, that kind of doesn't really make sense, you know, in my opinion. So maybe it's just for now until, you know, Bryan officially retires, but we'll see. Either way, Roman came out, and, you know, this was really hilarious. So they had a eulogy for the career of Daniel Bryan, and Heyman told the bell guy, you know, we're going to do the 10 bell rings, and he also told the bell guy, like, oh, you're not going to do it. we're going to do it ourselves. And all of a sudden, Heyman starts going like, ding, 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 doing, the 10 bell tolls in the ring. And you could see on the faces of Roman and Jay at the beginning, they had to hold themselves back from laughter. It was actually hilarious, man. Paul Heyman, the guy's a national treasure. This was fantastic. So after the 10 bell tolls, Roman took the mic and he said that he was a man of his word, having sent Bryan packing. Reigns said that they got rid of Daniel Bryan, and in his place, they got someone who was certain to acknowledge him as the head of the table, as the Universal Champion, Jimmy USO. I was so excited when I saw this. For those of you guys who have been listening to the podcast for a good amount of time, you guys know that I am a huge Usos guy. They're my favorite tag team in the WWE after the New Day. I haven't done it in a while, but I used to always go back and watch the New Day and Usos matches just because I love those two teams so much. And hold up, let me see. I got a text message. Anyway, and you look at it, this is something that we've been waiting for. The SmackDown Tag Team Division has struggled. Tag Team Division in WWE has struggled for years now since the brand split. And that's WWE's fault, right? Breaking up tag teams, not making it a priority, doing this, that, and the third. We know that WWE has done a poor job when it comes to tag team wrestling on the main roster. So the big thing here now is I've been talking for weeks, for months now, when the Usos come back. I was personally hoping that we could get the Usos versus the Street Profits at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. That was my hope, right? Because I thought Jimmy was going to come back after the Royal Rumble, but he's back now. And we can still get that match for SummerSlam. If we have a live crowd, the match has to be the Street Profits versus the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. That is a money feud waiting to happen. Because in my opinion, the Usos are the best tag team in the world. It's not the Young Bucks, you clowns, right? It is the Usos. And I'm so glad to see them back. But the thing about it is, Jimmy Uso came back. He was hype. He was excited. Got into the ring. Hugged his brother multiple times. He even dapped up Paul Heyman. He dapped up Roman Reigns. And, this was really good. Really good. And all of a sudden, before, Jay could or Jimmy could say anything to Roman, right? Because Roman was looking for Jimmy to acknowledge him. You have to remember that there's history there. We all remember Hell in a Cell in the I Quit Hell in a Cell match. That, the only reason why Jey Uso quit was because he was trying to protect his brother who was still injured. His brother who was injured at the time, got put into the guillotine by Roman, and that's why Jey threw away his opportunity at the Universal Championship to protect his brother. So you see how much blood and family means to those two. So this would come up a little bit later in the show, but Cesaro then came out and he took exception to the idea of anybody replacing Bryan. Remember, the last couple months, Cesaro and Daniel Bryan had gotten pretty close as allies. So anyway, I loved how Roman just stood there and started laughing. He was like, replace Daniel Bryan, please. And then all of a sudden, this would set up for a sneak attack from Seth Rollins. Right, and remember Seth Rollins and Cesaro, that rematch was set for tonight. So that Teddy Long appeared on the throwback episode, right? Holla, 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 right? And I thought they were going to change the match to a tag team match, right? They were going to have Cesaro and maybe one of the Usos, right? Jimmy Uso, something like that. And they were going to team up against like Roman and Seth Rollins. That's what I thought, because that's Teddy Long's gimmick. Let's turn everything into a tag team match, no matter how meaningless it truly is. But that's not what we got. Instead, we got a stipulation added to the Cesaro and Rollins match, and the stipulation was that if Cesaro was to beat Seth, then he would challenge Reigns at WrestleMania Backlash. And of course, and I love Roman's reaction as he sits in his chair backstage. And he's like, damn it all. So then, the pressure of the rematch between Cesaro and Roman, or not Cesaro and Roman, Cesaro and Seth got up, a couple notches. That's the simple way to put it. So, next up, we did have Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. So we got the actual match here. Hold up real quick. I need some water. 1 second. Woo! Anyway, like I said, this was excuse me. This was the rematch from WrestleMania, right? So it had, and plus when you add the stipulation. What up, UI Paul? What up, bro? How you like that Super Dragon Ball Heroes reaction earlier that you and Accelerator were getting on me for? Here's a funny thing, Paul. I actually recorded that reaction like minutes after our Discord. Minutes after, like seconds after our Discord, because I was at work. That's why I was wearing like the white shirt. But still, you nice hat. I'm not wearing a hat. Dennis is the hood. But either way, yeah, let's get back into it. So like I said, this was the rematch from WrestleMania, and like in my opinion, I've said this multiple times. Cesaro and Seth Rollins, that was probably the third match of the entire WrestleMania weekend, right? You had the triple threat match for the Universal Championship. You have Sasha and Bianca, and then I would say Cesaro and Seth Rollins took number 3 for the entire weekend, and. The one thing I was surprised that they didn't do is they didn't freaking do the showcase the airplane spot. You guys know how many times they showcased the airplane spot around you know how they kept showing the airplane spot on SmackDown a couple weeks ago? I was so glad that they didn't do that here, because that was, that would have pissed me off if they had actually done that.
They are the self-proclaimed.
I don't know. I just saw something on YouTube. Luckily, we're streaming, so I don't have to be as freaking tied up as usual, right? But I'm actually loading up the Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns promo that I want to talk about in just a sec, because I absolutely loved it. Give me one second. I just want to have it loaded up here, so we're ready to go.
Grammarly helps make your writing clear and concise, no matter where you are.
Let me see. Let me check the chat real quick. Paul, man, I really do think Vegeta's form looks better than Evolution. Like, all right, guys, like I said, we're streaming, so I may get a little bit sidetracked, but like, we're here to have a good time, bro. Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. It's Super Vegeta, just with dark blue hair, and it looked cool in the anime, man. But when I saw that form last night, Vegeta's eyes, I love the eyes and the black aura, and on top of that, you had the little sparklers like with Gohan Go Super Saiyan 2, right? Yo. That it's dope. All I need is Vegeta to have like a black suit, or just wear his normal, like his dark gi, like that dark blue gi he wears in Dragon Ball Super Broly. That's all I need. Honestly, I I like the form, the way it looks better than Blue Evolution. That's my opinion. But also I wanted to just real quick, side note. The reason why the stream is tonight and I didn't do it last night is your boy graduated. Got his diploma right here. So, yeah, class of 2021. So that's why. Thank you guys to everyone who commented on the other past video saying congratulations. I appreciate it. I don't really talk about my personal life on here. Just wanted, just thought I would just mention that a little bit. But anyway, thanks you, Paul. Thank you, JD. Going back to get my master's in business administration in a couple of months. But still, either way, at least I'll have more time to make videos now when I'm not working, right? But back to what we were talking about. So, the WWE. So, Cesaro and Rollins, the rematch. So, like I said, Rollins attacked Cesaro before the match. He sent him shoulder first into the steel steps, right? And, Rollins took over. Then Cesaro started to do a little bit of a comeback. Rollins held Cesaro's momentum doing a superplex and did the Falcon Arrow for a new fall. Then we came back from commercial. Cesaro rocked Rollins with a double stomp and scored a 2 count. Rollins earned one of his own. He then tried for the stomp, but Cesaro caught him and tossed him on the top rope. Rollins looked for the sunset flip buckle bomb, but Cesaro rebounded with a devastating clothesline. Rollins sent Cesaro to the floor and refused any assistance from the Usos. So this is when things got big, right? So main event, Jey Uso, he was trying to help Rollins because the Usos, right, especially Jey being the right-hand man, the Roman, he wants Seth Rollins to win. Because if Seth wins, right, Cesaro doesn't get a Universal Championship opportunity. But one thing that was interesting is what happens if Seth wins? Does Seth get the opportunity against Roman? Because actually, before we went to commercial, Seth was screaming, what do I get if I win? Why is it only Cesaro that gets something if he wins? Right? So, you guys, it's like almost they're planting small seeds here. So, Jey Uso tried to help Seth, but Seth's like, I don't need your help. I really like this. Seth's like, I don't need your help. I'm not Roman. That's important here because, as great as Roman Reigns is, one of the reasons why Reigns is so dominant is because he always has Jey Uso walking in his back. No matter if it's against Kevin Owens, no matter if it's against, Edge or Daniel Bryan, no matter if it's against Drew McIntyre, right? No matter if it doesn't matter who it is. Roman's always had Jey Uso's back regardless, or not, sorry, I messed up. Jey Uso has always had Roman's back regardless the match, regardless the stipulation. He always finds a way to get involved to help Roman have a more superior advantage, right? So, Roman's saying, oh, I'm not Roman, it's almost like a mini dig at Roman. Like, the only reason why Roman's been champion so long is because of Jey Uso, right? So that's something that you gotta pay attention to, right? Casuals would kind of skip over that, but that could be big, going forward, So, so Jey Uso tried to help Seth again, and Seth shoved Jey Uso down to the ground like, I don't need your help, right? All of a sudden, Jimmy Uso, looking out for his brother, super kicks Seth. So, a noble act by Jimmy Uso. But the thing about it is, right, it doesn't help Roman because that allows Cesaro to take advantage because the referee wasn't looking when Jimmy hit the super kick. So that allows Cesaro to put Rollins into the ring and it hits the neutralizer and gets the pin for the pin for the win. So now it's official at WrestleMania Backlash in 2 weeks, or actually no, next week now. Yeah, just a week from tonight actually. Roman Reigns will be defending the Universal Championship against Cesaro. And most likely, guys, the stream for WrestleMania Backlash will take place Monday morning. Most likely, Monday morning will be the stream. I'm thinking maybe potentially even like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Like, for real, because I think I got something to do Sunday night. So, I'll be streaming very early in the morning. And, of course, if you guys can't make it to the stream, the podcast is always available on demand for you guys to watch at any time. So, this was a really good match. Cesaro and Rollins have fantastic chemistry, and I really like the dynamic at the end of the match, right? Because it keeps Rollins, kind of looking strong. Even though he loses to Cesaro again, he got screwed by Jimmy Uso, right? And that set up for a beautiful encounter after the match. Hold on, I'm getting a text message. What time is it? 8:49. So, let me look in the chat really quick. Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. Seth is incredible. So you said, I think it would be fire if we get Jimmy versus Jimmy, or get Jimmy versus Jay, and if Jay wins, Jimmy has the full. Oh, I like that. JD says they could be planting seeds for Roman versus Seth. I would be all for it, but for the way people react to Seth, he has Heath. So, continuing that, since we're talking about it, so backstage, Seth actually goes to confront Roman. And I love how Roman has like this whole section of the locker room to himself, right? He has this cool little lounge in the Thunderdome where, he's separate from everybody. He doesn't, have to be in the locker room with them. So this was a really cool segment. It was only about a minute long, but it was fantastic. So let me play it for you guys.
We've gone through a lot together. I didn't want to come in here. You and me, we've gone through a lot together. I didn't want to come in here and talk to you like this. That son of a bitch, Jimmy, cost me the match. The reason I'm here is because I need to know, I need to hear from you. Should I be pissed at him, or should I be pissed at you?
I understand where you're coming from. But I need you to understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, my cousin screwed you over. But by you losing, you screwed me over. And now I gotta deal with your loose ends. Now I gotta deal with Cesaro. And I will, because that's what I do.
That's what I do.
To my family, I'll handle that too. Since now I gotta deal with Cesaro. And I will, because that's what I do. And when it comes to my family, I'll handle that too.
All right, fine. We're cool. You handle him, or I will.
Bro, it was a minute long, but this was my favorite thing on the entire show. Maybe even my favorite thing from WWE TV this week. This 50-second interaction with Roman and Seth was fucking great. Great. We've seen Roman versus Seth before. Actually, me and Paul, we actually in our Discord server, we watched Money in the Bank 26. It was 2016 where Seth and Roman was the babyface. He was WWE World Champion, and Seth came in. That was actually the night where all three members of the Shield held the WWE Championship because Seth beat Roman clean with the pedigree, and then Dean cashed in Money in the Bank. And what's crazy about it is that feels like so long ago. That was, 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And you got to think about it. The Shield made their debut back in 2012. At the end of 2012. It's been nearly a decade. And now just look at this, this 50-second clip, right? This interaction shows so much of how Roman and Seth come. They've come together. Roman's the number one guy in the company. Seth is fantastic at what he does, and I love it. The way they're interacting, Seth's like, we've been through a lot together. That's why I'm giving you the opportunity to, explain. Should I be pissed at you, or should I be pissed at your cousin, right? And then Roman's like, I understand what you're coming from. Because look at the way Roman talks to everybody else. When Roman talks to Edge, remember, Roman disrespected Edge. Roman was telling Edge, you need to pick me to face at WrestleMania. There's no other option. And he's talking to Edge, a Hall of Famer, right? He got Daniel Bryan barred from SmackDown. The way Roman talks to everybody else on SmackDown, Roman talks to them like he's leagues above them. And now you have Roman here kind of talking to Seth like an equal, but still reminding him that, your actions affect me because I'm the tribal chief. I'm the universal champion. I'm the head of the table, right? So I love how here they're bringing up their history together. You know, how they have respect for one each other because, you know, they're brothers at heart. And then, you know, them also planting seeds potentially for the future. Because Roman's saying, hey, you know, I understand you're pissed, right? And I'll deal with it. I'll deal with my cousin's actions. But you got to understand, by you losing, it affects me. Because now I have to deal with Cesaro. But I'm not concerned because that's how good I am. And Seth's like, okay, we're cool. For now, at least. Right? It's like, we're cool for now. Because we'll have to see where this goes. We all know Cesaro's most likely not taking that title from Roman. I have no idea who's going to be the one to take that title from Roman. I still want to see Roman versus Big E feud. I want to see Roman versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They could always do Roman versus Brock Lesnar. We want to see Roman versus Cena. Roman versus, you know, The Rock. There's so many feuds for Roman. And like I'll keep saying this. Roman could hold that championship all the way to WrestleMania 38. It could happen. It really could happen. But the thing about it is, a Seth versus Roman match at this stage would be huge. We've seen heel Seth versus babyface Roman. We've seen babyface Roman versus babyface Seth. We've never seen babyface Seth versus heel Roman. And I feel like if WWE wanted to, it would be easy to turn Seth back into a babyface. It would. You would have to make a couple changes to his character so it wasn't the way it was before when he went up against The Fiend a couple years ago. But a Seth versus Roman feud now would be absolutely fire. Just the little teases here. Because, you know, Seth's been back now for a while and he hasn't gone after any championships. He hasn't gone after the IC championship, right? And he hasn't made any indication that he's wanted to go after the Universal Championship. But we all know how Seth is. He's one of the best wrestlers in the company. One of the best in the world. Eventually, he's going to want to go after the Universal Championship. Right? They could go down like maybe Seth and Roman form a partnership. It's not exactly like the Shield, but still, they're like a dynamic duo. And then maybe eventually Seth, you know, turns on Roman and turns babyface in the process. We don't know. But this 50-second clip right here is what we need more of on SmackDown. And this is what happens because Roman and Seth are established stars. When you establish stars and you give us interactions like this, when they can be themselves, you get fantastic segments like this. This was easily the best thing. This 50 seconds was the best thing on WWE TV all week. All week. And I don't care what anybody says. And now it makes me want something with Roman and Seth in the future. Maybe at SummerSlam we could get Roman versus Seth. I don't know. You would probably have to turn Seth babyface, like I said. But I'm not against it. But I really enjoyed this segment here, man. Really do. And I'm hoping that maybe down the line, maybe not now, but down the line, this could lead to potentially a huge feud with Roman and Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship on SmackDown. That is easily a money match. Yes, Paul, like I said, I just mentioned that. How he spoke to Roman as an equal. I didn't even have to mention that. See, that's when you know this business like, you know, we do, like it comes naturally. What was the last time we got Roman versus Seth? Was when Seth won the title. No. We got that. Remember, we got babyface Seth versus babyface Roman on SmackDown. What was it? It may have been last year or the year before. It was on a SmackDown. That is true. Yeah, Paul, you're right. Roman's never actually beating Seth in a big-time match. That is true. Right. But another thing I saw somebody in the chat said, Jay versus Jimmy Uso. That could be where this is going. Because I will say this. Eventually, Jay Uso's most likely gonna, or not Jay Uso, Jimmy Uso's gonna join the faction. I feel like it's inevitable at this point. We'll talk about we'll talk about Jimmy's promo when we get to the main event. But you know, eventually they're gonna have Jimmy realign with Jay and join the Tribal Chief faction. He's gonna fall in line, Right now, I like how they didn't just do it right away. They're trying to tell a story with it, right? Jimmy's against it because he loves his brother and he loves Roman, but he doesn't want to be Roman's bitch because if we're being honest, Jay is Roman's bitch. Whatever Roman tells Jay to do, he does. Or if Jay doesn't do it, he knows that Roman will beat his ass. So, but remember, for months now, we've been hearing rumors that, they want new music for the entire faction, right? They want to make, the Usos tag team champions aligned with Roman because that visual would be absolutely amazing. So eventually, Jimmy's going to join Jay and Roman. It's just a matter of time of when. If they want to do a Jimmy versus Jay match, with the stipulation being if Jay wins, right, that Jimmy joins the faction, that would be great. And then you have them go in the tag team division and win the tag team championships. They don't have to be heels. They don't even have to be heels to be in Roman's faction. They don't. But the Usos being there and being together, there's no way. If WWE had the audacity to break up the Usos, that would be one of the biggest atrocities in the history of tag team wrestling. You don't break up a team like that, one of the greatest tag teams of all time. That's why I'm so confident that eventually Jay's going to be joining, or Jimmy's going to be enjoying Jay. I always get their names mixed up, right? But I love where they're going, with this. I love how they're trying to tell a story, and it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable. EM says, CM Punk's going to defeat Roman? Get out of here with that nonsense. What are you doing? All right, UI Paul says, Roman versus Seth, Sasha versus Bianca, Leslie versus Lesnar. That would be an amazing SummerSlam card. And if we do get a card that lit, I'm definitely going to go to SummerSlam. It doesn't matter where it is. All right? I would love to have a card like that. Brooklyn, Worcester, or Brooklyn, Boston, doesn't matter. Does not matter. That would be an incredible 3 match card for SummerSlam. Great stuff right there. And so we'll talk about Jimmy Uso. Like I said, we'll talk about his promo here in a little bit when we get to the main event. But as the night happened, Roman spoke to Jimmy Uso, and Jimmy said, "I'm not gonna be your bitch. All right, I don't have to do what you tell me to do." And then Roman tells Jay to go deal with that. And then you see Jimmy in the back pacing. Jay goes up to his brother and be like, "Man, all you gotta do is fall in line. Like you don't gotta let it go to that, man. We're brothers. We're a unit." And Jimmy's like, "Yes, but it always is about you and me, right? That's what comes first. Me and you are brothers. We're like this, And the thing about it is, like Jimmy was saying, he has no problem with Roman being the Universal Champion. He has none of that. He just doesn't want, to be treated with disrespect. He doesn't want to be treated as Roman's bitch. That's all he wants at the end of the day. He doesn't want to, be disrespected like that. And I respect that. I like how they're making that an element of the story here. So, then Jay's like, "Oh, we can go take over the tag team division. We can be SmackDown tag team champions and stand alongside Roman." Right? And that's how the segment ended. And I just love the way they did it. That was very, very good stuff here. Even though, like I said, I feel like they did spend a little bit too much time on the Universal Championship, which hurt the other segments on this show. But still, for the most part, I enjoyed it. So backstage, right? So Adam Pearce wasn't there. I guess tonight he had given Teddy Long the authority to make the decisions for the night. So Sami Zayn confronted Teddy Long and Sonya Deville. Teddy Long teased him with a match against The Undertaker. The Undertaker! Or King Booker. That's Teddy Long's thing. That's Teddy Long's thing. Always putting people in matches with The Undertaker or King Booker. But then he announced a big 10-man tag team match, right? And so you knew that Teddy was going to have to make at least one tag team match. It's not a Teddy Long SmackDown without at least one of them. So, we got the announcement of the tag team match for later on in the show. Next up, we had Ruby Riott versus Carmella. I talked about this in the opening shoot a little bit. I didn't like this. I'm not saying I didn't like the match. Like I said, Carmella's not a bad wrestler, right? Ruby Riott is one of the most underrated female superstars in that company. Why can't they get 10 to 15 minutes on this show? Why can't they? Like, this, like, you should be doing, these are the types of matches you should be doing, because it gets other people in the women's division TV time. Plus, you can develop competitors or challengers for future title shots. And, you know, you need side feuds. It's not all about the titles. You need side feuds. That's how you build characters up. That's how you make people important. But instead, this was only about two minutes. Ruby dominated for the most part, sending Carmella into the turnbuckle. Carmella answered with a big boot and rolled up while propped on the ropes. Morgan alerted the referee, but she could not save the match for her tag team partner. And then Carmella put Ruby in the coldest silence. All right. So my big thing is that the match didn't get enough time. That's the big thing. 2 minutes? You can't give me 10 to 15? This could be a decent match. You know, and clearly, you know, I'm willing to bet probably next week we're going to get Carmella versus Liv Morgan. And, you know, I could definitely see Carmella challenging Bianca Belair, you know, once Bianca most likely defeats Bayley at WrestleMania Backlash. And maybe they do Carmella versus Bianca at Money in the Bank or whatever, right? I don't have a problem with that if you're building up Carmella to be the next challenger. It's whatever, right? My problem is 2 minutes? Really? You couldn't give me 10 to 15? This could be a decent match. You know, that's my big thing here. You spent almost 45 minutes on the Universal Championships with all the segments in the match you did with Rollins and Cesaro, when you could have you could have stripped 10 minutes from those segments and then just put it towards this match with Carmella and Ruby Riott. Give the superstars a chance to shine, because that's how they get better, and that's how we care for them more, you know, watching them as consumers. It's that simple. There's no reason why Bianca and Bayley should be getting 3 minutes on a backstage segment like they did a couple weeks ago. And there's no way that Carmella and Ruby Riott should be getting 2 minutes on this show. Like, come on. You want me to compliment Monday Night Raw for a second? You want me to give Monday Night Raw a compliment and say that they give more time to their women superstars than, you know, SmackDown, when Raw's women's division is absolutely atrocious right now with Miss Robot Charlotte Flair? I am the opportunity. I am the original influencer. Like, are you kidding me? You want me to compliment Monday Night Raw for spending more time on their worthless women's division? Come on, this should not be the case. And the other thing, you know, I will say is, once again, why aren't the Riot Squad women's tag team champions? Why the hell are you wasting time on Tamina and Natalya and fucking Reginald, or doing, you know, Lana and Naomi versus Jackson Baszler for the 1500th time on Raw, instead of having the Riot Squad win the damn titles? It's frustrating. It's frustrating to see somebody as good as Ruby Riott only get 2 minutes of action on this show when she is underrated as hell. And it's also frustrating to see someone as good as Liv Morgan when her and freaking Ruby Riott should be the tag team champions. I don't get it. I don't get it. Bunch of nonsense, if you ask me. Yep, they have been doing the women dirty when it comes to match time. Like I said, that's the perfect way to put it. It's like they're going back to the Divas era. What was the thing that made the Divas era so bad? It wasn't, you know, all the stupid segments. It wasn't, you know, the ridiculous romantic relationships they put, you know, like Lita and Edge having a sex scene, or all this other stuff, right? Or Daniel Bryan making out with the Bellatons backstage, right? Or Gail Kim or whatever, right? It's not those ridiculous segments. Or, you know, putting all the superstars in these worthless Christmas battle royals, like looking like freaking toys and all that. Like, no. The problem was they got no time to show what they actually did. That's one of the reasons why I loved AJ Lee so much, because he kind of changed that. And then you had Paige, and then you had, you know, the Four Horsewomen, and the Women's Revolution happened. But now it's like we're taking steps backwards, right? You know, at least when Sasha was champion, she would get a decent amount of time. She wouldn't get a lot of time every single week, right? She could have been booked better as champion, of course. But, you know, at least when you saw Sasha, she got a decent amount of time for the most part. You know, no matter if it was with Carmella or Asuka or Bayley or Bianca, it was whatever. Now, when, you know, your SmackDown Women's Championship is only getting 2 to 3 minutes each and every single night, right? And combined, all the women's segments are just getting a little over 10 minutes. That's nonsense. It should be close to 30 minutes if we're being honest with ourselves. It should really be close to 30 minutes. So we gotta do better. We gotta do better. I understand Roman is the guy. And I know I gotta keep repeating myself, right? I understand Roman is the guy, but the Universal Championship does not need that much time. It is not the Roman show. It is SmackDown. The more people that are used in important matters on the show, the better SmackDown's gonna be. And that's what we should want. We shouldn't just want Roman to succeed. We should want the entire roster to succeed, especially the women's division, especially when you're trying to promote that women's wrestling is on the same level of men's wrestling. It's that simple at the end of the day. It's not that difficult to understand. You know, so that's just my little thing, man. More time for the women and get the damn Riot Squad into the women's tag team title scene. Stop wasting them. They're the most established team in the women's tag team division, and they're not used. They're not used. Well, Edward, I see your comment, right? Yes, I love AJ Lee as well. You saw my top 10 woman video from a couple weeks ago. AJ, I believe, was at number 5 on my list. Well, of course, she doesn't compare to Sasha Banks, right? And, you know, I don't want to get into a discussion about that, but that's my opinion. All right. So, next up, I don't know what this was, all right? I'm going to be honest. I don't know what this was. So basically, Bayley they had Bayley come out and honor the women's champions of WWE. And this wasn't terrible, right? This segment wasn't terrible. My big thing is there is no fucking story here with Bianca and Bayley. You guys want me to put my trust in Bianca, and I have trust in her. I don't trust WWE Creative. I still will not let WWE off the hook for booking Bianca poorly on the road to WrestleMania. I know Bianca has the star factor. I don't like when you guys say she's already a mega star because she's not there yet. But yes, Bianca is a star. We understand that. But, geez, she is not established to the point where you can just put her against anybody and then give us a match at a pay-per-view. She's not at that level. She's not like a Ronda or a Sasha or an Asuka where they can face anybody at a pay-per-view and you're going to care about it because it's them. No, Bianca's just getting started. And even though we've already seen Bayley and Bianca, why is it that the Bayley and Bianca story, when they were freaking having an obstacle course, why was that better than Bayley versus Bianca for the damn championship? Why was that story better? Why? That should not be the case. This is for the freaking SmackDown Women's Championship. This is for the most important women's championship in the wrestling industry. And there is no story. I understand Bayley is good, but Bianca is establishing herself as a star for years to come, and there is no story here. There is nothing to sink your teeth into. Nothing. Like, I'm not saying this, like I said, this segment wasn't bad, but like I said, what's the story? What's the story? So, Bayley came out to honor the women's champions of WWE history.
I didn't realize how many mistakes
So,
I was making
I'll
in
play the
English
promo.
until I started to use Grammarly.
It's like having a proofreader and an English teacher right there.
Speaking English is way easier to me than writing it. Grammarly gives me confidence.
In Spanish, the way you say the
All right, before I play the clip, Jay Beans, right? I guess you're new to the channel, right? Good to meet you. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. That question's not appropriate. Like, I'm not gonna say that. You know, like, yes, there's some beautiful WWE superstars. First of all, they're not divas; they're superstars. But I'm not gonna say something like that, you know. Maybe if we were off camera, maybe that's something we could talk about. But like I said, you know, if I say something, I could get in trouble for it, you know, in the future. Like, come on. Paul says, there are no megastars right now for legends like Cena, Lesnar, and Rock. Maybe Ronda too. Roman and Sasha are getting there, but it's going to take time. Roman and Sasha are the only two big stars on SmackDown. You can make an argument, maybe Seth, but it's only Sasha and Roman. There's nobody else. Not even Bayley's there. And that's not no disrespect to Bayley. It's just that Sasha has more of that appeal. She has the look for it. Plus, you know, right, she's in Star Wars. Like, she's already making her way into the mainstream media. And hopefully she just continues to grow and get better and better and better. So let me play Bayley's promo.
I'm actually here to pay
Bayley, I don't know what was with her hair tonight. That shit was wild.
tribute. I'm actually here to pay tribute to some of our fellow women's champions. The one that led us with smiles on our faces, with their victories. The ones that put their bodies on the line for us. So let's pay tribute and remember some of those women. The Glamazon, Beth Phoenix. And the latest inductee into the Hall of Fame, Molly Holly. And last, but certainly not least, our newest champion, Bianca Belair! Would you look at that smile? Now, I'm not just gonna be Bianca's first challenger for that title. I'm going to be Bianca's last challenger. Because at WrestleMania Backlash, I'm going to beat Bianca. And I'm finally gonna show the WWE Universe that I was right about her all along.
So let's keep it 100. It's my confidence that bothers you.
I'm going to beat Bianca. And I'm finally going to show the WWE Universe that I was right about her all along.
So let's keep it 100. It's my confidence that bothers you. Because it's my confidence that empowers me and my fans and everybody that sees themselves in me. So thank you for your concern, but maybe you should be worried about yourself.
Not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You guys know I'm really honest. I'll say this. I like Bianca's style. She's developing her own style, right? And I don't know if this is because of Sasha, because Sasha did this way before almost for most of the roster, right? Sasha, she almost never wears her own merch on TV. Even though WWE Shop does a terrible job of giving Sasha updated merch, right? Sasha's always wearing tracksuits and, you know, her style goes with her calling herself the legit boss. You know, it's one of the reasons why, you know, people look at Sasha as like the best dressed in the entire company, you know? So, you know, Sasha has her own style. Bianca has her own style. I like, you know, I'm not a female. I don't understand, you know, female fashion and all that. But I like what Bianca's wearing, you know? It fits her character. It fits herself. And I like that. You want her character to be organic. And I'm not going to lie. I kind of like Bianca's promo here, right? It's my confidence that empowers my fans. It's my confidence that empowers me to believe that I'm the EST of WWE. I like that. I like that. You know, so for the most part here, I like what Bianca's saying. I want more of this. I want more of this. Why the fuck did we not get more of this type of promo when we were getting Bianca and Sasha on the road to WrestleMania? Maybe if we got more Bianca promos like this, I wouldn't have complained as much. For everybody that says, oh no, Fitz, you're just hating on Bianca. Bitch, no. I was never hating on Bianca. It was because she was booked terribly. And I will keep reminding you that Sasha bitch slapped Bianca at WWE Fastlane, and Bianca acted like a pussy and didn't do anything. I'm not letting that go. I'm not letting it go. Right? But still, why didn't we get these kind of promos from Bianca on the road to WrestleMania. We didn't get anything like that. We got useless segments with Reginald and a bunch of other garbage. Wait, what the hell? Why? Why couldn't we get this Bianca on the road to WrestleMania? Why? This should have been the Bianca we should have gotten from the second she was drafted to SmackDown. Jeez, man. I need more promos like this going forward for Bianca. I need more of this. Because like I said, I'm going to be critical. As much as everyone knows I may be a biased Sasha Banks fan. I say she's the best female wrestler of all time. I say she's the best wrestler in the world, which I believe that. But I'm not saying Bianca has the potential to be one of the all-time greats. And promos like this will help. This will help. But you got to give Bianca more TV time. You got to give Bianca an actual story. A story that we can sink our teeth in. And then when we look back at Bianca's championship reign, no matter if she drops it to Sasha at SummerSlam or somebody else, or if she drops it at WrestleMania next year or whatever happens, we don't know how long Bianca holds that title. We don't know. But we need stories that we can sink our teeth in. So then when we see Bianca's pay-per-view matches, we can be like, damn, remember that storyline that Bianca was in with Sasha Banks or Becky Lynch or Bayley or whoever it is? We need storylines that we can sink our teeth in and get invested into as fans. And Bianca needs more TV time. Simple. She's not at the level where she can make a magical segment with only 5 minutes like Sasha Banks can. She's not there yet. When she does get there, I will let you know. But it's way too early to say Bianca's already at the level where you can give her 3 to 5 minutes on TV and that's all she needs. No. You want her to be the next big star, right? The one to follow the 4 horsewomen. As the next big star in the women's division, you got to give her more time. Because that's what they did for Becky when Becky became the man. That's what they did for Bayley when Bayley turned heel. That's what they did for Sasha. You got to do the same thing for Bianca. So, what can we learn from this promo just so far? Because we're not done. What can we learn? We need more of this type of Bianca in promos. We need more TV time for Bianca. And we need an actual story for her championship opponents. Simple. Simple.
Thank you for your concern, but maybe you should be worried about yourself. Because I'm on my way to becoming the new longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion.
Look, I don't think Bianca is going to be the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Right? I don't. I don't even think she's holding that title past SummerSlam. That's my opinion. We don't know. That's still 3 whole months away. We don't know what's going to happen when Sasha comes back or Becky. We don't know. So I don't have any confirmation. It's just what I'm thinking right now. We still have Money in the Bank. There's a lot of stuff that can change in the next couple months. Right? But I don't like that line there. Because Bianca's just getting started. She really hasn't done anything with the title in the first 3 weeks of her reign. And you're already talking about her being the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion ever. Come on, let's pump the brakes. You haven't even got to a month yet. You haven't even got to your first title defense yet. All right? Can't talk about Bayley's year reign right now. Don't do that. Don't feed Bianca this political jumbo mumjo. We don't need that. Mumbo jumbo. We don't need that. All right? We don't need that.
And if you think at WrestleMania Backlash that I'm going to be doing anything other than winning, then... Okay, that's enough.
Oh, and Bayley trying to...
All right, and then it turns to a segment, Bianca and Bayley start going at it, and Bayley eventually got the advantage. She hit that knee finisher, sending a message to Bianca, right? I expect Bianca to retain at WrestleMania Backlash. It's not like Rhea Ripley. Bianca is more established than Rhea Ripley. I will say that. Bianca is much more established than Rhea Ripley is right now. right? When Charlotte beats Rhea Ripley at Backlash or Money in the Bank, it's because it's happening in the next 2 pay-per-views. I'm telling you, Charlotte is winning the Raw Women's Championship again at either WrestleMania Backlash next Sunday or Money in the Bank next month in June. When that happens, Rhea Ripley will be buried in my eyes because she is absolutely awful. The way she has been presented on the main roster has been absolutely horrendous. Horrendous. Okay? All right, but, I don't expect us to really get a story with Bayley Bianca now because we only have one more SmackDown before WrestleMania Backlash, so it's kind of too late now. We'll just see, but I expect Bianca to win the match. Let's just hope. I like Bianca's promo here for the most part. Continue that, right? Don't give her any political mumbo jumbo. Don't do that saying oh, I'm on my ways to being the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion. Don't do that. She hasn't even had a title defense yet. She hasn't even been champion for a month yet. Let's not do that. Right? Let's not do that. It's way too early to be saying nonsense like that. But give her more TV time. And after she beats Bayley, right, let's actually give her a story. Something that we can invest in with her next championship feud. No matter if it's Sasha or Carmella or somebody else or whatever. Okay? Let me look at the chat real quick. Yeah, JD, I agree with you, bro. Right? The match with Sasha Banks should not be the one reason why we care about Bianca's title reign. We all know that's the big match. The rematch with Sasha and Bianca, which should not take place until at least SummerSlam. At least SummerSlam. And I don't even know if Sasha should win that match. I'm saying that as a Sasha Banks fan. If Sasha comes back and we get the match at SummerSlam, I don't even know if Sasha should win that rematch. I don't. We'll get there when we get there. But that match should not be taking place unless it's in front of fans. Simple. It should be taking place in front of fans. No questions asked. But yes, Bayley had the longest SmackDown Women's title reign. Edward says, I want Sasha to do a very badass heel turn on Bianca and cut a promo and say, bitch, this is my damn division. Sure, Sasha's great as a heel. She's better as a heel. But I want Sasha to be a babyface when she gets her first WrestleMania victory, which should be WrestleMania 38. Don't care who it is against. Sorry. I'm tired of Sasha having to put other people over. All right? At WrestleMania, at least. Next year at WrestleMania, Sasha should be getting her first WrestleMania victory in a world title match. No matter if it's against Bianca, no matter if it's against the 4 Horsewomen, no matter if it's against Bayley or anybody else, Sasha should be winning her first WrestleMania victory at WrestleMania 38. Period. And I would like to see that as a babyface. I want to see Sasha win the Rumble. I don't need to see Sasha win Money in the Bank. I'm not against it, but I want to see Sasha win the Women's Royal Rumble next year. All right, that's what I want. So we'll see what happens when Sasha comes back. Bianca is way better on the mic than Rhea. It's pitiful. I don't recognize Rhea Ripley on the main roster. I don't. I truly don't recognize her on the main roster these days. If Sasha wins, that would tell you the truth about Bianca's faith with the company. But they could also get heat too because it could be forced in a hometown. Yo, I want Sasha versus Bianca at SummerSlam in Boston. Because I was supposed to go to that show before COVID hit. I had tickets and everything for SummerSlam in Boston. And I was so hyped because I thought that was going to be Sasha versus Bayley. So if they do Sasha versus Bianca, the rematch in Sasha's hometown, I will be there. All right, it has to be with the title because they sure don't have a secondary feud, so win the Royal Rumble. There's no one else Sasha needs to put over anyway, so she'll probably get her first win next year. I hope, Paul. I can't deal with the memes anymore, people. I can't deal with the Google searches. 0-6, Sasha Banks is the first thing that comes up. I can't deal with it. Yeah, I just typed up 0-6. I was terrified that Sauce was gonna come up. Anyway, yeah. So enough about that. You guys see what I mean about Bianca. Hopefully, you know, I feel like I have to remind people that every single week on the podcast. Every week I gotta remind people. All right, but anyway, what's next to happen on this show? I'm busy. So next up, we had Dominic Mysterio versus Dolph Ziggler, right? So earlier in the afternoon, Rey and Dominic versus Dolph and Robert Roode was added to the WrestleMania Backlash card, right? I believe, if I'm correct, last week, somebody pinned one of the members of the Dirty Dogs. I don't remember what specifically happened, but that led to this being put for WrestleMania Backlash. So no problem with it, right? You know, this should be a really good match at a WrestleMania Backlash. You have Dolph Ziggler and Rey Mysterio. Like, they're going to carry that match. It should be great, right? So Dolph and Robert were poking fun at the idea of Dominic being a wrestler on the level of his father, right? So Dominic laid down the gauntlet for a match, and we got the match. So this was very short, not much here. Mysterio called Ziggler with an inside cradle for the win. The Dirty Dogs were very surprised at it, and that was that. Sure, this could have gone more time, but I'm way more concerned about the women's division getting more time than the SmackDown Tag Team division. Even though the tag team scene in WWE is absolutely atrocious and horrific, and it's sad that that's the case, right? Honestly, I'm just like, you know, this match is going to be great. You don't really need much of a story here anyway. The story's already there, right? Dominic and Rey, father and son, trying to become tag team champions. The story's already there. You know, I expect the Dirty Dogs to retain, you know, because I could definitely see this being spread out over a little bit of the early part of the summer. But, you know, definitely maybe at Money in the Bank, that's when we see Mysterio and Dominic win the tag team championships. But like I said, now that Jimmy Uso is back, the Usos are going to be back in the tag team division, and it's only a matter of time till they're going for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And in my opinion, I don't care what anybody says, the Usos versus the Street Profits should be your match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships at SummerSlam. Do not care what anybody says. It shouldn't be a triple threat match with Mysterio and Dominic, right? It shouldn't even be a fatal four-way match with the Dirty Dogs. It needs to be two teams. It needs to be the Street Profits and the Usos. This could be a feud that could be on the level of the New Day and the Usos from 2017. You guys who have been listening to the podcast for a good amount of time, I've been wanting this match for nearly a year, ever since the draft. I wanted this match for WrestleMania. Jimmy Uso wasn't ready for WrestleMania. This needs to be your match at SummerSlam for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It needs to be the Usos versus the Street Profits. Simple as that. Make it happen. Make it happen. All right. Nothing else I need to say about that. All right. So like I said, there's not much really else for me to say here about Mysterio and the Dirty Dogs. You know, nothing else. We'll see what happens with the match at Backlash. Should be a good one. But like I said, Street Profits, Usos, I want that at SummerSlam. Don't care. Next up, in this, I don't know what the fuck this was. Who the hell decided to book this crap? First off, WWE decides to give a video package for Tamina. Why? Why the hell did we need a Tamina video package on this show? Like, are you serious? Tamina's not even that good as a wrestler. She's not. I'm not trying to disrespect Tamina, but she's not that good. She doesn't do anything in the ring. It's just super kick, frog splash. So they decided to give Tamina a video package for about 1 minute, and then you have Kayla Braxton like, oh, I haven't seen that type of passion from Tamina in a while. And then what WWE proceeds to do is book Reginald versus Tamina. Why? Why the fuck is Reginald still getting TV time? Why does Reginald get more TV time in the ring competing than guys or women like Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Carmella, talented women? Why are they getting less time than freaking Reginald, who is wrestling in the women's division, mind you? Look, that one time we got Sasha versus Reginald, it was good for what it was, but it should have been a one-time thing. Now they continued this bullcrap with Reginald, right? Putting him in 6-woman tag team matches. He's facing Tamina tonight. Like, why? Why are we doing this? You should be focused on building up the women's division, making the making the women's tag team titles be as important as they can be. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? This is a bunch of nonsense. This is why people are saying that the women's division is going backwards. And the thing about it is, this lasted 2 minutes. Another 2-minute match. So you had Ruby Riott and Carmella, which was 2 minutes. You had Dominic versus Dolph Ziggler, which was about 2 minutes. And you had this crap, which was about 2 minutes. We don't need 45 minutes of the Universal Championship. We don't need, 45 minutes of that, no matter how good Roman is. The other parts of the show should not be getting 2 minutes. It should not. This was 2 minutes of nonsense. So Reginald basically did the same thing he did during the Sasha match, right? He evaded Tamina, showing agility and athleticism. Then Tamina dropped it with a super kick. She scaled the ropes for the Superfly Splash, but then Baszler and Jax interfere, drawing the disqualification. Baszler stomped on the exposed elbow of Tamina before Jax delivered a Samoan drop into the guardrail, and then the heel stood tall as Michael Cole hyped up the title match. So next week on SmackDown, we'll be getting the rematch from WrestleMania, Tamina and Natalya versus Baszler and Jax. And honestly, the only reason why I want Natty Tamina to win is so that we can get the damn titles off of Jax and Baszler. They have done nothing with those titles. They've looked dominant because they've beaten the same teams over and over and over. But like I just said, there's a limit. There's a limit of how dominant you can look when you beat the same teams over and over and over. We just need to get new champions. And then what I would do is, after you get those belts on Natty and Tamina, get the damn titles on the Riot Squad. I've been saying that for a freaking year. So, my gosh. So clearly Tamina's going to go into next week's match a little bit banged up after the attack afterwards. But I'm going to play something for you guys. Tamina cut a promo on Talking Smack, right? I haven't seen this yet. I just found it on my YouTube page, homepage. So I want to see, how does Tamina actually sound? So let's see. This is Tamina. The title is Tamina Gets Personal with a Passionate Address. Tamina gets personal with a passionate address to Nia Jax, just from Talking Smack. Let's go.
Tag team champions of the world, and they have been unstoppable on Friday Night SmackDown. Please welcome Natalya and Tamina.
So, I'm just going to get right to the point. I have a lot that I want to get off my chest, and we're not only statement makers, bone breakers, title takers, but we have more than proven that we deserve a shot at the tag team championships.
Natty, I got this.
This is my first time hearing this.
I don't even need to really address Shayna. You may be a great mixed martial artist, but I've got the dungeon on my side, and nobody beats that sharpshooter. You hear what I'm saying? But now I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna address you, Nia. Sis.
Yeah, remember, Tamina and Nia kind of have some Samoan ties.
You have disrespected me. And you may not think I know what I'm doing. But I have come here with passion.
You look at Paul Heyman in the background. Heyman's like, whoa, I didn't expect that.
Care if you may have been here and you think that you know better than me, but you don't. Lo ngutu. Together here. This is our place.
So she puts the mic down. She takes off her jacket.
Do you feel my passion?
Okay. I fuck with this. And then she puts the mic down and walks away. Paul Heyman's face.
I need to go make sure that she's okay. I gotta go.
I'm nearly speechless.
Paul Heyman's face, man.
Career here in WWE, and that is a Tamina we have all been waiting to see, and she has definitely put the entire locker room on notice, especially
Paul Heyman, man. He's like so shocked.
Plan on stopping until the assessment of what we just saw.
I don't want to talk about her. I might piss her off.
That's probably okay.
I don't want to talk about her. I might piss her
we'll
off.
Keep our eyes peeled on what happens in weeks to come. Again with Natalya and Tamina. We have a few more guests who are joining us here on Talking Smack, and we'll get to that. But we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us.
Look, this is what Talking Smack is about. This is why I love Talking Smack. Because it allows the superstars to be more organic. They don't have a script. They can come out and say whatever they want to say. Why do you think people were talking about Peyton Royce's promo a couple weeks ago? Right? Before she got released. The one she cut on Asuka. You know? This was some good shit. The one thing I will say about is Tamina, she paused a little bit too long between her sentences. But the intensity was there. You could see the fire in her eyes. That's what we need. That's what we need, not only from Tamina, but we need that from everybody in the women's division. Let these superstars be themselves. Let them be themselves. Let them actually come out and say what they have to say. Why you gotta always script them? Like I just complained about earlier with Bianca. Why the fuck do you have Bianca coming out and saying, oh, I'm on my way to being the longest reigning SmackDown Women's Champion when she hasn't even had a title defense yet? We don't need that shit. Right? This was the best that Tamina has ever sounded in a WWE ring. And it was on Talking Smack of all things. It wasn't even on WWE television. We need more of this. More of this. Maybe if we got more of this, I would be more excited for the women's tag team title match next week. But, you know, I'm not that excited for it. But this does give me more, I guess I can say, more belief that Natalya and Tamina are going to win the titles next week. I will say that. But as a promo, this was great. This was great, right? A little bit too much pause. The pausing, you know, between her sentences was a little bit long. But either way, great promo. We need more of that from Tamina and everybody in the locker room. This proves why you need to stop scripting your superstars, guys. Stop scripting them. Let them be themselves. And, you know, everything else will take shape. The women's division will be amazing. Look at, man, Paul Heyman's reaction to all that, how he was scared. He was like, I don't want to say anything. I might piss her off. And then Natalya sitting there was like, damn, that's my tag team partner right there. Like, damn, we need more of that shit. We need more of that. Well, yeah, you are true, Paul, when you talk about Peyton Royce did ask WWE to let her go. That is true. That is true. But yeah, like I said, we need more of that in the women's division. Let these superstars be themselves. Let them make their own characters, man. Next up, we had the 10-man tag team match. We had the heels, Apollo Crews, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Otis against Big E, Kevin Owens, Shinsuke Nakamura, and the Street Profits. There really wasn't much going into this. Remember, this was made by Teddy Long. Apollo did cut a pretty good promo backstage before the match, right? And, it set the stage. My only problem is, just like my problem with most of this show, this was really short. This match was only about 10 minutes long. Only about 10 minutes long. It could have easily gone another 10. You have so much talent here. Every single person, outside of Baron Corbin, right? Every single person, here is talented. Very talented. So I wish we got, a little bit longer here for this 10-man tag team match. And another thing, man, it was good to see Shinsuke Nakamura. I believe at WrestleMania Backlash, they haven't announced it yet, but I think it's most likely that it's probably going to be a fatal 4-way. It would make the most sense with Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Big E, and Apollo Crews for the IC Championship. That would be my guess as of right now, but we won't probably know until next week. They haven't made anything official yet, or based on what I've heard, right? Nothing's official. But Shinsuke Nakamura, man, let's start building him up. Plus, we have Aleister Black on the way. These are guys, like I said, Big E, right? Kevin Owens, Nakamura, Aleister Black when he comes back. These are guys that belong in the main event scene. They should honestly be fighting for the Universal Championship. But I don't mind them also being in the mid-card division for now, right? But you gotta give these guys focus, man. Shinsuke Nakamura, you gotta stop. You use him 1 week, but then we don't see him for a month. Like, you can't do that. You want us to believe that, the King of Strong Style is back? Put him on TV every week, man. Build him up. I would like to see an Apollo versus Shinsuke Nakamura IC Championship match. I'm down with that. You could see, just based off this match alone, that they have more than enough talent to have a credible mid-card division with championship feud for the IC Championship and side feuds to help build up competitors, right? They have more than enough people to fulfill that role. More than enough. I'm really hoping WWE, builds up the mid-card division because they have no excuse not to. Well, like I said, my main problem here was the match was pretty short, right? Like, I'll keep saying it, man. We got to take a little bit of time off for Roman and give more time to these other segments. It's not just about Roman. But either way, the match for the most part was decent. It would have been much better if, it had more time. So coming back from break, Owens was on the defensive as the heels were taking their time teeing off on him, right? KO then hit an atomic drop on Apollo and followed with a super kick. Then he tagged in Nakamura, who got the hot tag. So then Nakamura went after Sami Zayn. Then your usual 10-man tag team match stuff. We see each superstar doing their moves. There was a great spot here where Montez Ford out of nowhere did a suicide drive on Otis. Otis barely turned around in time to sell the move. Like, I thought we were almost going to see Montez Ford, fall flat on his back the way he did at the Performance Center back early in the pandemic. Right? Remember when he goes like, WrestleMania, and he does the suicide dive. There's nobody there, and he just falls straight onto the ramp. You could hear it's like, bam! And then you see Selena Vega turn away in horror. Thought she just witnessed a death. But, either way, man, Montez Ford's suicide dive, man, is absolutely beautiful. Right? But Corbin hit Nakamura with the end of days to get the win for the team. So I don't know what that means, right? I don't know what that means. I don't know why they gave Baron Corbin the win. Like I said, out of everybody here, I care about every single superstar in this match other than Baron Corbin, and he gets the win here. I don't know why. We'll just have to wait and see. It was a decent tag team match. Could have used a little more time. Don't really know why they gave Corbin the win for the team. Maybe we'll get more explanation on that next week. So last but not least, we had Roman Reigns' ultimatum. Right after what happened, of course, with the Seth Rollins and Cesaro match, Roman wanted to know what, Jimmy Uso was going to do. He made it very clear, very simple. Either Jimmy falls in line, joins his brother Jay, and acknowledges Roman as the tribal chief, the head of the table, right? And he joins the faction, right? Which I believe he will eventually. May not happen now, may not happen next week, but I think it will happen eventually here in the next couple weeks. My theory is, if they don't do the Jimmy versus Jay match, and, the stipulation, of course, would be if Jay won that match, Jimmy must join the faction. If they don't do that, I could definitely see something like Jimmy helping Roman to retain against Cesaro at WrestleMania Backlash. So maybe like next week they do something like Cesaro takes out Jey Uso, right? And then eventually, now you think it's going to be even, right? Roman versus Cesaro. It's a fair fight. And it looks like Cesaro's right about to beat Roman. He has him set up, ready for the neutralizer. But all of a sudden, an Uso attacks. And it's not Jey Uso, but it's Jimmy Uso. And then it's Jimmy coming to Roman's aid to take out Cesaro for attacking his brother and then helping Roman retain the Universal Championship, making up for the wrong, right? Making up for the wrong he committed when he super kicked, Cesaro tonight. Or no, not when he super kicked Cesaro. When he super kicked Rollins tonight, which allowed Cesaro to pick up the win to become the number one contender. So things coming full circle. So I think that's, one of those two things happens, right? Either Jimmy helps Cesaro, or either Jimmy helps Roman retain the Universal Championship against Cesaro at Backlash, or we get a Jimmy versus Jay match. But either way, I'm not complaining. But I'm going to play the promo here really quick. It'll be the last one before we get out of here.
This is not how
and
I
yeah.
envisioned the night. This is not how
I
envisioned the night.
I love Roman's face here, man. Like, you guys see how I got my twists, right? I'm going to keep growing them. I want to get to the point where I can tie them. Have them. I love how Roman has, his hair tied. Like, that shit's dope. But, man, and Roman got a beast beard. That beard is beast.
It was simple.
Yo, Anthony, wait, hold on. I gotta pause for a second. Yo, Anthony, man, you're mad late. Bro, the stream is like an hour and a half. I'm about to end here in 5 minutes. Hey, everybody who's in the stream, my former co-host, Anthony, the former co-host of the Legit You podcast, he decides to join the stream now. An hour and a half into it. You missed all the good stuff, bro. Come on, man. Damn. Either way, man, Anthony did promise me. He promised me that he would be a guest. He would, for one night only, he would make a special guest appearance on the Legit You podcast if Charlotte wins at WrestleMania Backlash. I'm not saying I want Charlotte to win because you guys know I don't like Charlotte, but for those of you guys who were not around when the Legit Shoot podcast first started, me and Anthony were the best tag team in the IWC. So, I don't know, man. I would love to see Anthony reunite, me and Anthony reunite for one night only on the Legit Shoot podcast. But please, fuck Charlotte. All right, let's get to the promo.
Again, this is not how I envisioned the night. It was simple. I bring your brother back in. We're holding.
I'm not sure how well that's going to go over. The interruption of the head of the table, Roman Reigns.
Where do you stand, brother? Where you standing, huh?
And one of the things I just want to mention, one of the things I love about this also, right? You got Roman, of course, wearing his Acknowledge Me shirt, right? Head of the table, tribal chief, right? You guys know all that. You have Jay wearing the right-hand man because he's the right-hand man to the tribal chief. And then you have Jimmy, who hasn't yet joined, because I feel like we all know this is eventually going to lead to Jimmy joining the tribal chief faction. He's still wearing that the day one is USO merch. So I kind of like that little element. This is something I noticed because you guys know, I'm a badass like that.
You know what? When you and Cuz fought, it was in an I Quit match, right? I sat at home and watched the hardest thing I ever watched. And no matter what, I sat there and I watched you. You wouldn't say I quit for nothing. Until cousin drug me in that ring, put me on the guillotine, and choked me out.
And Roman,
and then you set it up.
And Roman's, I love it. This is great stuff. You have Paul Heyman over here holding the Universal Championship, and he's just looking at Jey Uso, right? He's just like, don't do something to make the tribal chief mad. You have Roman over here like this, like staring off into the distance, listening, like, really? This is why you're acting all petty and salty? This is why you haven't acknowledged me yet? I love it. And then you have Jay, you know, sitting there listening to his brother. This is such good shit, bro. I really wish we had a crowd for Roman's reign, man.
For me. Because you love me. Because you didn't want to see me get hurt, Oos. Right? You don't remember?
That that Roman and Jey Uso feud, man. Woo! I may have to go back and watch that watch that I Quit match. I may have to go back and watch that I Quit match, man. Woo! Relive that.
Let's take a look right quick. Yo, Jay, don't get hot at me when I say this. But if it were me, I would have never said I quit to you, no matter what.
So Roman grabs the mic.
That's what this is about.
I love Roman, bro. They're like, this is what this is about. This is why you won't fall in line and acknowledge me. Acknowledge me.
You're still stuck on the past? Me and your brother, we've moved forward. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. It's simple. Fall in line. Stand with us. And acknowledge me. Or you can take your ass home.
Or you can take your ass
You understand?
home.
You can take your ass home. And when you turn on the TV, you're gonna have to explain to your kids why you're sitting there with them, watching the tribal chief and the USO.
And Roman's like, yeah, you can take your ass home and you can watch with your kids and you can explain why you're not here in the Thunderdome, right? With the tribal chief and the USO. The USO, the number one USO, main event USO, main event Jey Uso. Because remember, months ago, everyone was like, you know, dang, which twin are you, Jimmy or Jay? But now here we are, after all these months, Jimmy, right? Jimmy's now the underdog. He's the secondary twin. Because Jay's been putting on bangers with Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens and all these other big names. He even had a match with Edge in the main event of SmackDown. He's made a name for himself. He's made himself into a singles competitor, even though his legacy will always be known as one half of one of the greatest tag teams of all time. He's made himself into, you know, a single star because of his relationship with Roman Reigns. So you can see Roman saying these things to get under Jimmy's skin, to try to, you know, make him realize, like, your career is better off by standing here with me. If you choose not to, I'm not going to sit here wasting time. You're my family and I love you, but I'm not going to sit here playing these games. I'm the tribal chief. I make the rules. All right? If you don't want to stand with me, you can take your ass home, just like Daniel Bryan is right now after I defeated him last week. Like, this is good shit, bro. Really good shit. Such good shit. So Jimmy drops the mic and he slowly exits the ring. I love that. Love that. And Roman's disappointed, but he also understands. Like, he's also like, okay.
I'm not so sure what this means.
That's your choice, so be it. So Jay goes after his brother.
This would be easy if you just acknowledge him, bro. And then we can get back to doing our thing, man. I know it's hard.
And then
Cesaro attacking Reigns from behind.
And then Cesaro attacks Roman from behind.
Who says Cesaro?
And then Jay, of course, right, being the right-hand man, seeing that Roman's in trouble, Jay goes after Cesaro, right? But Cesaro starts beating him down. And then Jimmy, seeing that his brother is in trouble, that's another key thing. He saw that his brother was in trouble, not Roman. He saw that his brother was in trouble. He goes after Cesaro, similar to what he did with Seth Rollins earlier in the night. So Jimmy goes out to Cesaro, and then Cesaro hits him with a huge uppercut. So then Cesaro did a neutralizer on Jay. Then he does a neutralizer on Roman.
Will Cesaro do that at WrestleMania Backlash?
Roman could have done a little bit better of a job selling it because his knees were kind of tucked in, so it didn't look as clean as it should have. But still, really good segment to end the show. Really good stuff. It helps build up Cesaro as a legit challenger to Roman, even though I don't expect Cesaro to win. But still, it hypes you up for the match at WrestleMania Backlash next week, right? Then, they're clearly setting it up. Jimmy's eventually going to fall in line. And as you guys said, I feel like it's one of two options. Either we're going to get Jimmy versus Jay, and then if Jay wins, Jimmy has to fall in line. Or I could see something happening where Jay's taken out of the picture, and then Jimmy's the one to come to Roman's aid this time, and then he helps Roman retain the Universal Championship against Cesaro at Backlash. But either way, really good stuff with the Universal Championship tonight. Really good stuff. But still, my only big complaint really is we cannot have Roman taking up 45 minutes of the show. It hurts the women's division. It hurts the mid-card division. It hurts the tag team division. As great as Roman is, you cannot have that taking up 45 minutes of the show. It can't. It's that simple. Can't take up that much of the show. But other than that, let me just look at the chat one more time. Paul said, Jimmy basically just said he wouldn't have said I quit to save Jay if the roles were reversed. What an asshole. Hey, man. I don't know. It does make Jimmy look like an asshole, but then still it's like, would you say I quit to another man? But hey. Anthony says, the point about my return is that it shouldn't happen. Can I trust WWE to do the right thing? So Anthony's saying the right thing would be to have Rhea Ripley retain. Yes, sure, but Rhea Ripley sucks on the main roster. Rhea Ripley sucks. Bianca Belair is way more established than Rhea Ripley is right now. Rhea Ripley on the main roster sucks. This is a far cry from the Rhea Ripley we saw in NXT. The only reason why I would want to see Rhea Ripley retain is because I don't want to see Charlotte as champion. If anything, I would rather see Asuka regain the championship than anything. It's that simple. But yeah, so like I said, if Charlotte wins the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania Backlash, we will have a special edition of the Legit Shoot podcast. Most likely, I don't know if it'll be a pay-per-view review or a Monday Night Raw review. Most likely, Anthony will be back for one night only, and we'll show people why we were the best tag team in the IWC for one night. But we're not there yet. Charlotte hasn't won anything yet, but hopefully it doesn't happen. But other than that, guys, that's about all I got for you guys today. Another long stream. My reviews always go long when I'm streaming because I'm talking to the chat. We're having a good time. I'm more laid back, right? If it's just a pre-recorded, review, it's only about like an hour or 50 minutes. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. If you guys did, leave a like on the video. I will be back here tomorrow night for the first time since January. I will be back here tomorrow night, 11 o'clock sharp, we will have a Monday Night Raw review stream. We haven't had one since January. The last couple weeks I've been doing streams for Monday Night Raw on Tuesday, but tomorrow night, I will be here 11 o'clock sharp after Raw. We'll talk about all the nonsense going on in the go-home show, the WrestleMania Backlash. What will happen between Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley as they face off again in the main event? Will we see anything important happen? Probably not. Remember, Braun Strowman is also in the picture as we have the triple threat match for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania Backlash. Like I said, Bobby Lashley should not be losing that title anytime soon. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar should be a dream match for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. What will happen between RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Matt Riddle quickly becoming my favorite thing on Monday Night Raw? What will happen between them? Will AJ and Almas have new number one contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championships? We'll see. And what other bullshit will Charlotte say to get me pissed off this week? Because Charlotte is the most overrated female wrestler of all time. I don't care what anybody says, right? So yeah, all that stuff and more to look forward to the Monday Night Raw review stream tomorrow night. Make sure you guys are here. Other than that, guys, thank you guys for joining me on the podcast. If you guys enjoyed, before you guys leave a like on the video. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell right next to my name, Fitzbunk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. I'm gonna get out of here. Follow me on social media. The link is in the description down below. You guys stay safe and healthy, y'all. Peace.